Hi, I'm the List Girl and welcome to my video graphic journal. Today I'm going to be going over some autism life hacks. As an autistic person myself, I use these on a regular basis and they are extraordinarily useful. If you're autistic yourself, you might find some of these useful if you're not aware of them already. But if you're a parent or friends or relatives to an autistic person and you would like to help them make make their lives a little easier, stay along with the video and I'm sure you'll find at least one thing that may be useful to you. So number one, and I use these quite regularly, especially for when we go grocery shopping or just shopping in general. Noise cancelling headphones are the shit. They are so good. These in particular that I have, they're not too expensive. Vanco, and they are really good. They block out most of the traffic, most of the crowds, and as I said, I usually use it when I go shopping, so like it also blocks out like the trolleys, all the beeping, or just all of the sounds. It all sounds very muffled basically. It basically muffles out majority of the sounds, and some of the sounds it blocks out completely. So this is very useful in preventing sensory overload when I'm out. They're also very good with fireworks. I have gone to a bonfire night before and they have blocked out fireworks extraordinarily well. Something that I've also tried in the past that is really useful is either home delivery for groceries or click and collect. They both are pretty good. It prevents you from having to deal with the majority of the social aspects and having to go out and deal with all the noises and the crowds. And if you yourself are an autistic adult and have to do your groceries, then I would suggest doing either click and collect or home deliveries for your groceries to avoid the majority of the hassle. Number three, hidden disability lanyards. Personally, I use it so that people who work at the places that I go to, like whenever I go shopping or to events or whatever, when I travel, they know that I am autistic, and just in case I need their help for anything, especially when I'm alone. And sometimes I use it because if I'm out in public and I'm using my noise cancelling headphones but I'm with other people, I don't want people to assume that I'm being rude by ignoring the people I'm with. By wearing my lanyard, I feel like it kind of protects me from that kind of judgment, like, oh, they're being rude, they're not listening to the people they're with, they're antisocial. But then I feel like they can see my lanyard and they might potentially understand why I'm wearing my headphones or why I'm behaving in certain ways. If I'm stimming in public, then that explains why I'm doing that. Or if a couple of months ago I had to go to the bank and I kept like sort of, I don't know, banks make me feel so like anxious for some reason, and so I was kind of like stuttering and stuff at the front desk. So by wearing my lanyard, I felt like the person who was there had a little bit more patience, kind of understood better maybe. It's just really useful for when you want people to understand you're acting a certain way or need certain provisions. Have your regular at-home stim, whatever. Mine's usually my blankie, but then also have a portable stim, something small, maybe a fidget spinner, something you can put in your pocket. I have a mini Rubik's Cube. I also have a thumb stone, which is really smooth and nice to play with in my hands. So have your standard stim, but then also have a portable stim so that when you're out in public and you're getting a bit anxious or overwhelmed, you have something discreet that you can stim with, so you're not getting overly stimulated or overly anxious about something. The text-to-speech app is great for not only people who have difficulties speaking but not necessarily writing. A great way to communicate with other people. I sometimes use it when I'm burnt out and I literally just can't get words out. I'll just pull out the app and a Siri/Alexa type voice will just speak for my behalf, which is really useful because it saves a lot of personal energy when you don't have any. Coloured LED lights. One thing Georgia and I sometimes do is I have set certain moods or whatever to different colours. Each colour means a certain thing. Georgia knows what they are. So for example, I'm like a leave me alone, I'm not in the mood. It would be red. If I'm like doing something but I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, you can come talk to me, then it's green if I'm like trying to chill and I'm emotionally okay but I don't want to be disturbed, especially like if I'm doing something related to one of my special interests, then it's blue. So it's like a I'm okay, I'm cool, but like maybe not right now. You could have some LED lights and just you could discuss with your family or your partner or whatever, the people you live with, and set different colors for the lights, meaning different things. It's great when you don't want to be disturbed if you're not in the mood. It lets other people know what kind of mood you are in without you having to talk about it, if that makes sense. It's a great little trick. The next one might be a bit of a touchy subject. I find this personally very useful. Having a supportive family or friends or just group of people who understand you, who know your needs and that understand your quirks, and that know that they need to give you plenty of time before they make any changes or plans or whatever, or that they try their best to give you as much time when they do make plans or make changes to certain things. For example, Georgia, ever since we first started dating, she's always been so understanding about my autism, and it took her a while with some things. For example, only like in the past 2 or 3 years we've been together and we're coming up to our 5th anniversary, but only like the 2 or 3 past years she's been like gotten a lot better with making plans early on and letting me know early on if there are going to be any changes and giving me as much time to deal with that change as possible. Obviously there are times when she's like very last minute and she couldn't help it because it's somebody else that made the changes or whatever, but majority of the time she's very good at giving me time to deal with any changes or plan ahead. If you have people in your life that can do that, also really helpful. Number 8, an app that lets you know when each hour strikes. With my autism, I tend to lose track of time. When I was a kid and I'd be playing video games, which is my special interest, and it was time for bed and my parents would be like, okay, you have 5 minutes and then you need to go to bed, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. And I'd be playing for like an extra hour or two and my parents would get annoyed at me, but I genuinely would lose track of time and I'd be like, but I didn't know it had been 5 minutes. So I'd frequently lose track of time. But if you download an app that kind of gives you some sort of notification of every hour, it kind of makes me feel, in a weird way, it kind of makes me feel more connected to my environment and more aware of time and what's going on. The personal app that I use is called Blip Blip, and at every hourly interval it will notify you, make a sound of some sort. For example, every hour I hear a gong. So every time I hear that, I know, oh, it's been an hour. Or if I've set myself a time limit on something, then I'm like, okay, well, hour's up. And it kind of just brings me back to reality, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And that is really useful. Number 9 is using Alexa and Google to set all sorts of reminders and alarms for anything that you can think of. For example, on my phone, I have an alarm that tells me when to have my lunch because I always forget to have it, and an alarm to tell me when it's dinner time because I always have it late. It also tells me when to take a shower in case I'm like really distracted by my special interests and I'm like, oh yeah, wait, I need to take care of myself, as well as when to exercise. I've been trying to add it to my morning routine. But if it's gotten to the end of the day and I still haven't done it, then I have that reminder, which is useful, like, oh yeah, I need to do some exercise, which is good for my body. And I always use alarms and timers for literally everything, not just for when I'm making food and I need a timer, but I set my limits for certain things. So that's really useful if you also have problems with eating at certain times or doing certain tasks. Then using either Alexa or Google or just the alarms on your phone is extremely useful, especially when you are like me and you constantly lose track of time and you get really focused into your special interests and you just forget that life even exists and you have to do certain things like eat, sleep and take care of yourself. And finally, number 10, this can both kind of link back to the one I just said about, you know, staying in reality and realizing that you need to take care of yourself, but it also has to do with the fact that with my autism comes hypochondria, which makes me extraordinarily obsessed with my health. And one thing I've really been bad at, which I've been really trying to work on for the past 5 years or gotten better at, is drinking water. Until about 5 years ago, I used to drink no water whatsoever. I used to live off like Red Bull and coffee, but I'd always forget to drink water. That is an essential part of living, especially a healthful life. But sometimes I'll get to the end of the day and I'm like, did I have enough water? Did I have my 8 cups that have been recommended? So what I do now is I have a 2-litre bottle. At the start of the day I fill it up, and if it's empty by the end of the day, I know that I've had a healthy amount of water and that I've taken good care of myself, and it means that I don't have to be anxious or worried about, oh my gosh, I didn't drink enough water today. So this is also really useful, just taking some sips throughout the day. I've been quite bad at it today actually, because it's already 5:30 and I really had half of my bottle, so today is not been quite good, but I've had a lot on my plate today. So yeah, but this is extremely useful because I don't have to, as I said, worry about whether I've had enough water or not, because if it's empty by the end of the day, I know that I've had all the water that I technically needed. Speaking of which, but then again, saying that, for all you worrywarts like me, my hypochondriacs, there was a slight downside when I first got this bottle, was that I was extraordinarily anxious over the fact that I could accidentally overdrink, which can kill. You can literally drown yourself. But then I learnt, and this is a note out there for my fellow hypochondriac, your body can handle about 1 litre per hour. So if in half a day you have half of this bottle, that is good. Don't worry. If you have the whole bottle in one sitting, you may want to go to a hospital. But that's just a little note for my hypochondriacs out there, which helped me when I first started using this bottle. But I'm pretty chill with it now. But yeah, I hope you found all of these life hacks useful. I might make another one later on in life. If you did find this useful, please let me know in the comments. If you yourself have some life hacks that you think I myself or other people might find very useful, then please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I shall see you all in the next video. But before I log off, I have one question for you. What is your next adventure?